long as it's postmarked by tomorrow, I'll get it today. What?
All right, here we go. Good morning. I would like to call to order this meeting of the Fremont County Board of County Commissioners and invite you to rise for an invocation by Rob Meeker with Solvista Health and to please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
The front button there, yeah.
Got a green light, good check.
Yep.
Ready to roll.
First and foremost, I just want to say that I am honored and I think we should all be reminded of how blessed and fortunate we are to live in a county where this is still part of what we do. So, yeah, let us pray. Heavenly Father, we come before you today as humble and trusted servants, and we ask for your guidance. We realize that we are in a season in our town and in our county and state and nation and world that is unprecedented with difficulty and hardship, but that you are trustworthy. So we ask for your wisdom. We ask for your blessing and protection over all the people in this room and all of the people in our county that are here with us. Remind us that it is our duty as humans to be unified, to bring peace, to bring justice, to operate with courage, and above all, to operate with love. We know that we can trust you. You've given us life. You've given us the honor of liberty and the privilege of being American citizens. Let us be good stewards of the gifts that you've given us, and give us the courage to make the wise decisions that honor you. We ask that you bless us and keep us, and it is in your Son's name, Jesus, that we trust you. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Rob. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Bell.
Present.
Commissioner Grantham. Here. Commissioner McFall.
Present.
County Attorney Jackson.
Present.
County Manager Bryant.
Present.
Planning and Zoning Director Simpleman.
Present.
All right, thank you, Justin. We turn next to the approval of today's agenda. I am not aware of any changes we need to make.
Nor am I, Madam Chair. I move to approve the agenda.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve today's agenda. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner McFall.
Aye.
Commissioner Grantham.
Aye.
Commissioner Bell.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Up next is our consent agenda. I would like to note we are not scheduling a public hearing with today's consent agenda for any time in the future.
Madam Chair, I move that we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve today's consent agenda. Further discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner Grantham.
Aye.
Commissioner McFall.
Aye.
Commissioner Bell.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Up next is informational and administrative topics. We will begin with staff and elected officials' comments. We will start this morning with County Manager Sunny Bryant, who has a report for us. Good morning, Sunny.
Good morning. So just a couple of quick updates. So we do have several employment opportunities available throughout the county. So if you're looking for a job or if you know of somebody who is looking for a job, please direct them to our county website at www.fremontco.com. And then on the home screen, there's a link that says employment opportunities, so click on that. And there's various different levels and positions we're looking for. So next, we are finalizing the RFP for the Housing Strategies Project. So we received a grant from the Department of Local Affairs to help us pay for this. We are going to review all of our regulations and requirements throughout the county to determine if there's anything that we have in place that's prohibiting any type of affordable housing or prohibiting any new development, and then come up with some proposals through the commissioners to actually look at changing those regulations. So it's going to be a really big project, but we're excited to move forward with this. There will be some public opportunity to come in and participate in that as well. And then we have several other RFPs that we're working on, and so if you know of a company or interested in that process, we do have a link on our county website under the RFP portal, and so you can actually sign up for that to where you'll receive notifications anytime we post something on that. And that's all I have.
All right, thank you, Sunny. Lots of stuff going on. We have with us this morning Fremont County's new Budget and Finance Officer, Brett Patterson, who has his first sales and use tax report for us. Good morning, Brett.
Good morning.
Good morning. So yes, I have the sales and tax report for you. Just going to go ahead and start with the retail sales tax through April. As of April, we've collected $723,000, puts us above our current projected budget for 2022, about $83,000 ahead of schedule for the current budget. For the auto use tax through May, we've collected $137,364. It puts us ahead of our current projected budget for this year by about $94,500. For the construction use tax through May of this year, so far we've collected for this month $30,912. For this projected budget for this year, that puts us about $8,000 ahead of schedule. For the lodging tax, which we do quarterly, we did collect some additional funds in April, $829. We are a little bit behind last year, about our current budget, sorry, $7,600. And let's see, moving forward, the sheriff retail's tax collections. So far through April, we've collected $482,000, and compared to our budget so far, that puts us about $39,000 ahead of schedule. Then for the sheriff auto use tax, so far through May, we've collected about $91,500, which for 2022 budget puts us about $87,000 ahead of schedule. And for the construction use tax, the sheriff construction use tax, so far we have collected through May $21,220. We are a little bit behind on the projected 22 budget by about $6,000.
Thanks, Brett. All in all, things are actually looking pretty well, especially when you compare current income to all of the budget numbers that we put in. So collections are going relatively well.
Definitely.
Questions, comments?
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thanks so much for being here. Fremont County Clerk and Recorder Justin Grantham has something to say about, I don't know, an election or something? Good morning, Justin.
We might be having an election. No, we are having an election today. Today is the last day of the June primary election that started for my office back in January, but really started for the people in earlier this June. The polls are open till 7 o'clock tonight, barring any, the court order to extend that out. So I know I've been noticing Facebook posts and other things about what can you do, what can't you do. Remember, Colorado is a hybrid voting state. You can vote by mail, you can vote and drop off the ballot that we sent you in the mail, or you can come vote in person, and the voting center is open till 7, like I said. So if you haven't voted yet, now is the time to go to 201 North 6th Street, which is the Garden Park building, and the voting center is right in the center of the building. I encourage you to vote, everybody before 7 o'clock, because at 7:01, the polls are closed. So other than that, a little statistic, we are at 27% turnout in Fremont County at the moment. So if you haven't come and seen the smiling faces of our judges, you should go see our smiling faces of our judges, because they are working on your dime and they are wanting to see you.
So how does that 27% compare to our last primary, Justin? Do you know off the top of your head?
We were in the high 40s in our last primary and high 40s in the primary before that. So 27% turnout, and I've seen statewide we are around high 20s and percentage turnout anyway. So we're hoping for a huge turnout today, and I'm encouraging a huge turnout today.
All right. Thank you so much. Gentlemen, reports, updates? All right.
Absolutely.
Commissioner McFall.
So for those in the room and the millions watching around the world know what I'm about to say, right?
Yes, we do.
It's dry.
And there is a fire danger.
We have to be thankful for the little bit of moisture that we have gotten, but I was checking today, and the fuels in the mountains, which is the timber and the fuels in the ground, is still very, very dry. We're in moderate to high fire danger. So it's still very dry out there. And as a reminder, we are under stage 1 fire restrictions, which we have the 4th of July weekend coming up, and I know a lot of people like to celebrate and go out and camp and stuff, which is great. You guys got to be very diligent. Stage 1 fire restrictions do prohibit several activities. One is campfires. They have to be contained. They have to be in an area that's designed for campfires with an abundant amount of water close to them. Grills should be propane or gas that you can shut off easily. You shouldn't have any fire or grills left unattended, which that should happen always. But even smoking is only allowed in designated areas where there's a hard surface, no chance for materials to catch fire in your vehicle, somewhere like that. Don't throw your cigarette butts out the car or on the ground. This is the one that a lot of people are going to be unhappy about, but no explosives or fireworks. Fireworks is the key there, though. Unfortunately, with these restrictions and the dryness of the fuels, the grass, the tall weeds that are dry from last year, they would go up very quickly. So fireworks that have sparks, obviously, could cause a fire very easily. It's actually illegal to possess or sell fireworks under these restrictions. So just use a lot of common sense out there. Be very careful. If you're going out camping, have fun, but be safe. Remember, these fires that get out of hand in the mountains are because the trees are very, very, very dry. Yes, we have had some moisture, but we haven't had enough. We've been in a drought so long that the trees don't know that we've had moisture. So be very careful out there and have a safe, fun Independence Day.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Grantham?
Ditto to all that and nothing to add.
And nothing to add. The only thing I was going to say this morning is our county offices, as most other offices, will be closed next Monday for the 4th of July. So let's celebrate America, celebrate everything that we have here in this country that is so lacking around the world, and stay safe. All right, moving on. At this time, we do welcome citizens who may wish to address the commissioners on a matter not scheduled on the agenda today. We have John Rambish has asked to stand and speak. Please come to the microphone, sir, and we welcome you here and are interested in what you have to say.
Button right in the front of it right there. No, turn it. There you go. Morning.
Good morning. First of all, I should mention I do have stage fright. I hate being in front of people. When I do speak, the people who I do speak to like to interrupt so many times. By the time I get to the end of what I'm trying to say, it has been so messed up that it doesn't resemble anything I was attempting. So if you can please give me time to talk. I don't know where to start. A lot of people I have talked to in the past told me to come to you guys and discuss this with you. So I don't know if it's actually relevant to what you guys do, but I'm going to talk about it anyways. I am a special ed student from the RE2 District School, Florence, Colorado. I graduated with no formal education. I could not read, write, or do arithmetic. I could not read the hands of a clock, count the change in my pocket. I could not read a tape measure or a ruler when I graduated. This is relevant to my school records and licensed professionals who were certified to assess my disabilities and my education. Like everybody else, I started going through the court system here in this county, Cripple Creek, and Colorado Springs. The first major court hearing I was in was my divorce, and I will backtrack to that here in a minute. But when I went in there, I said, I'm special ed, I can't read, I can't write, I don't know how to fill out these paperwork. Can you please help me? In Canyon City, Cripple Creek, and Colorado Springs, they said, no, we don't have any legal obligation, and we are not going to assist you in any manner whatsoever. I found out a couple of years ago that you have ADA, Americans with Disability Act, that provides services for special ed students to help them read, write, and do arithmetic, and anything else that is within reason within your courtrooms. They were denying this and refusing me reasonable access to your courts. When I found this out, I found it out at the public library from one of your teachers, Cynthia Odom. She accidentally helped me find out about the ADA program. After I found out about it, it was just before Donald Trump went into office. So when I found out about it, because I can't spell and I didn't have any other means to do anything about it, I went ahead and attempted to spell and tell the President of the United States what was going on. I wrote a letter expecting that he wouldn't be able to read it. When he did send a response, he made your courtrooms abide those civil rights laws as they are attached to the Constitution. The courtrooms they processed me through you guys taking my property for non-taxes. But this is on account of numerous issues, not just the exploitation of my disability and the refusal of giving me human rights in your courtroom. I went down to West Staff when you had West Staff, and I asked them, can I get a job through you? And they said, no. I said, why? They said, we don't have to tell you, this is an at-will state. I went to your courtrooms and I said, I have a problem, I need to get in your courtroom. They said, piss off. Okay? I went, okay, fine. Prior to that, I had gone to your college because I thought, well, maybe I can break tires. And I went down to Jim's Tires and I said, hey, I'd love to break tires for you. Can I get a job? He said, absolutely. Do you have such and such a certificate? And I went, you need a certificate to break tires? He said, yes. There are computer chips within the tires and they have to be maintained. If you cannot maintenance those and you cannot prove that you can maintenance them, you cannot break tires. So I went down to the college and I said, can I apply? They said, yes, here's the paperwork. I said, I can't read, write, and do arithmetic. Can I please get some help? They said, you're not eligible to come in here. What do you mean? They said 85% of everything you're going to learn in this college is through textbooks. If you cannot read those textbooks, if you do not understand them, you cannot be here because you will never be able to keep up with the rest of the students. And then they told me, besides, even if you could read, you have to do reading, writing, and arithmetic programs in which you have to be able to pass. If you can't do any of those, you can't come in here to even break tires. I'm like, okay, all right, well, I'll just go around to the businesses and I will just apply with the businesses, or I will go up to Work First or Workforce program. So I went down to the businesses, and all the businesses that I could do had this big plaque on the wall before you went through the door. It says that this business is contracted with that of West Staff. If you are seeking employment here, you must go through the West Staff services. I went, okay, well, I'll go ahead and go to the Workforce program, and I will apply there. When I went and applied, they welcomed me. I started going on the computer. Every single one of the jobs that I can do was delegated back to West Staff. You closed every job that I had in this town, refused to allow me to have employment, and I can only assume you were trying to run me out of town. But it went further than this. I couldn't pay child support. So what did you do? You went, When I did have a job, you entered into my paycheck without giving me a court hearing. You sent me a notice after you were told numerous times that I was special ed and I couldn't read. It said you have 30 days to reply to this letter, and/or we're going to consider you consensual with whatever the court agrees with, and we're going to go ahead and go and do what we're going to do. So I went to your courtroom. What does this say? They said, piss off. There you go. And I couldn't read it. They went right into my paycheck and took 65% of every dime of my money. I couldn't even pay for gas to get back and forth to work. Then, after they collapsed my job, lo and behold, I needed to pay child support, non-compliance to child support, cost you your driver's license. So, with the same thing in mind, they sent me a 30 days notice that I couldn't read. They wouldn't help me read, wouldn't help me fill out the paperwork, and they took my driver's license. So I couldn't get to and from work, and this kept going on and on and on. It has never stopped, in violation of U.S. human rights laws, exploitation of disability, the removal of my access to every employment that I could possibly go to, and the endangerment of my safety. Because not only did you guys do that in this county, not only did you do that, but when you took my house for non-compliance of taxes, for what was at fault for the courtrooms and your legal system, you took my driver's license, cost me my vehicle, and I couldn't even sleep in the back of my car. So you were forcing me right onto the street under a bridge and making certain I had no means to be able to sleep anywhere. I had to use what I refer to as my rape money. That would be the overbid to my property to track down my family that I could not find, and I had to go on the internet and pay all kinds of money to find that the only person that I could find was my niece, who was moving out of her house, who was able to tell me where my sister was. She was sleeping in her vehicle behind Walmart, and I slept out of a vehicle during that time. The refusal to allow me human rights, the exploitation of my disability, the refusal to allow me to have employment, gainful employment within your community, I can't remember everything you guys done. I mean, you tore into me. I can't remember everything that you
So,
have done.
Mr. Rambish, I do apologize, but I am going to have to interrupt you at this point. Many of the things that you're telling us right now, the commissioners have no direct control over. However, we do have some agencies and folks in the community that I think may be able to help you. So I took a note of your address and of your telephone number, and I'm going to start looking for some folks to give you a
Well,
call
let's
to
go
talk
ahead and go
to
through
you.
all the folks that I've already talked to. I tried to get a hold of the Civil Liberties Office. Their phone service and answering service basically refuses anybody who has illiteracy, and you can call them up and you'll figure it out yourself in 5 seconds flat. I went through StarPoint. They said that my IQ wasn't below 95 and they couldn't assist me. I called up the Colorado Disability Law Firm. They said I had 60 days to turn your courtrooms in, otherwise I wasn't eligible. They told me I had to report this to the Department of Justice. I attempted to do so. I called up every attorney I possibly could in the phone book and asked if they did pro bono cases. They said that they didn't and would not assist me, and I had, again, contacted the Office of the President. I went through a lot of places, and that's not just the limitation. Are you certain you can find something to help me? Because nobody seems to be handling any of these things.
We can try. And
Because
that's what I can say to you is we can try.
What I'm going to say right now is I am accusing you of slavery. Okay, that is forced control in which you profitably benefited off of taking, again, fines, fees, court costs, jail time, anything like that you have access to, and you can nail people on that. You had nailed me on child support with fines and fees. That disappeared once I started screaming slavery. Somehow it's not on there now, but it was on there when you were taking all my money. You had taken my driver's license. Now you're telling me that you would give it back. That was a couple of months ago, so long as I paid you $95. And then, again, you've taken my driver's license. You took my house, obviously, made me homeless. You profitably benefited off of that. So I am going to cite forced control and slavery.
Okay, well, be that as it may, this is a business meeting. We do have business to conduct this morning. If you would like, you can hang around. I will have a conversation with you after this meeting if you would like to do so. But we do have business now, and we must start attending to that business. So,
Okay, I take it you don't like what I have to say. Okay.
thank you for standing and speaking this morning. Is there anyone else who would like to rise and speak to this board? Okay. All right, seeing none, we will move on. We have no old business for consideration in today's meeting. So let's jump right to new business. After a very long wait, we do have our Fremont County Accountability Report complete for the year 2021. This is something we started back in, I believe, 2013. And we've been doing it ever since. It is a little bit later this year than normal simply because we've had a lot happening here in Fremont County. We've had a lot of staff turnover, a lot of changes, and not a lot of time to work on putting all of this together. Typically, we use the completion of this report as a time to sit and to go through slides and to talk about everything that the county has done over the entire last year. This morning, I think we're going to change that up a little bit. We're not going to go through the entire accountability report, but I want to draw your attention to the fact it is complete. It is available online at fremontco.com. Every slide for every office and every elected official who turned in information is located within this report. So I want to thank not only the staff members who put it together, but all of our elected officials and our department heads as well for everything that they did in order to be able to get this information out to our public. This is holding us accountable. This is us telling you what it does, what we do with every dime that we collect in taxes and in revenues here in Fremont County. And we think it's a really important document. So we invite you to go on and take a look. And I also would just like to say we've had a discussion as commissioners, and we are going to be talking over the next few weeks when we open and we start our meetings each time. We're going to be talking about some of the amazing things that are happening in our various departments. So I just wanted to note all of that. Gentlemen, do you have anything further you'd like to add? All right, let's move on. Item 2 is to award a bid for a Pathfinder Pavilion covered arena. And first I'm going to turn to Commissioner McFall, who has done a little bit of work on this. Just for a few words, and then we'll turn to our county manager, Sonny Bryant.
So thank you. Yeah, as you know, we have a new event center out at Pathfinder Park, and it's doing very well. It was a plan that started 20 years ago almost. And it finally came to fruition there with the building, and it's doing pretty well. Well, there's also a plan to have some barns out there. We are going to have the county fair out there this year, however, we don't have a barn, so we're going to have livestock under a tent or two, and we're going to make it work this year with the idea of trying to get a covered pavilion out there. Well, we tried a year or so ago. We sent out, well, it hadn't been quite that long, sent out some bids or an RFP for a building, and we had real exaggerated expectations, I guess. It was a huge barn, actually. It was 150 by 325 feet with a classroom attached to it so we can dedicate that more to 4-H. So that's a big barn. The bids all came in $3 or $4 million too high, and we didn't have the money to afford that. So after some discussion and some checking, we cut the size of the building down and put the RFP back out. And with a smaller building, which is still a huge building, 150 by 200, and still a large building with a 4-H classroom type attached to it. And the bidders that bid on the first RFP had the opportunity to bid on the cut down version of it. And we got bids from all of them, I believe, that were in the first round. And so it's kind of exciting. I haven't had a chance to look at all the bids, but we do have a recommendation from our county manager. And so with that, I'll let Sunny explain all of that. Thank you, Sunny.
Yes, thank you. So as Commissioner McFall indicated, we did receive 4 bids on the original project. We did send out the narrowed scope to those 4 contractors, and all 4 of them did rebid. At this time, we actually did have, so we currently are without a county engineer position, and so I did use an external resource that we have, which was our prior engineer, sent him the information just to make sure we weren't missing anything, and have a recommendation that we award the bid to Corsentino Construction in the amount of $1,915,883. This company is a qualified bidder and came in $748,372 below the second bidder. And so at this time, I would like to make that recommendation. And then we'll move forward. This is a design build project, so we will, upon approval of this, we will start moving forward with that project, having some meetings just to narrow down all of the details and then finalize that.
All right, thank you so much for that, Sunny and Dwayne. This is a really exciting time for Fremont County because we have worked for a couple of decades now to be able to start construction in Pathfinder Park, to start building out, to get all the infrastructure in place. We got the arena. We now finally have an event center. This really is the last big project that we need to do in order to have Pathfinder Park complete the way that we kind of envision it, and to be able to do all of the things, including the Fremont County Fair out there, that we need to do every year. So things are going well. We're excited to get this next piece of it done. And gentlemen, with that, I am prepared to accept a motion.
Well, Madam Chair, I would move that we award the bid for the Pathfinder Pavilion covered arena to Corsentino Construction in the amount of $1,915,883.
Second.
All right, it has been moved and seconded to award this bid for the Pathfinder Pavilion covered arena to Corsentino Construction in the amount of $1,915,883. Further discussion?
Yes, please.
Yes.
One thing to note, I was looking through these bids, it's kind of interesting, the price of metal and wood and everything else that everybody knows is skyrocketed. It's pretty interesting in these bids, the difference in the metal bid, it starts at just over $800,000 up to almost $2 million. So it's kind of interesting, the difference in there of these bids. But I would also just like to note that this money will be used for this, provided we pass this here in a second, is money that was saved, cost savings from refinancing of certificates of participation, as well as some ARPA money. As you know, we've, as a county, received $9.4 million, which we've been passing out to special districts, fire departments, small businesses, trying to help recover from the COVID. And we decided that if possible, we may never have this chance again with this kind of money to get something like this accomplished. So this is where we're at. Thank you.
All right, thank you for that. Anything else? All right, let's do a roll call.
Commissioner Grantham. Aye. Commissioner McFall.
Aye.
Commissioner Bell.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Let's, yay, that's exciting for us. We'll turn next to a resolution to suspend use tax collection. So for an explanation of this, we're going to turn back to our county manager, Sunny.
Thank you. And so over the last couple years, there's been some changes to the state regulations through the Department of Revenue to require that sales tax be collected on anything that's purchased through the internet. Along with that, a lot of our local companies are no longer accepting the Fremont County tax exempt certificate. So currently the way it works, if somebody is trying to build something in Fremont County, they go to our building department, they get a building permit, and we collect the use tax up front. They have been issued a tax exempt certificate at that time that they are to present to any of the organizations in which they're buying materials from, and that organization then is not supposed to collect taxes again at that time because they've already paid their taxes. And so going back to the other thing, right now, if you order materials online, there's been no way for them to present that tax exempt certificate. and a lot of organizations are no longer actually accepting that. And so looking at all of that, looking at how people are paying taxes, we're determining that more and more often now citizens are actually paying use tax up front and then paying a sales tax when they actually purchase the materials. And so at this time, if County Attorney Jackson has any additional things to discuss. So we brought this concern to the board, and County Attorney Jackson had presented a resolution. So at this time, we are requesting that the commissioners consider this resolution to suspend the use tax collections. So when you get your building permit here at the county offices, you'll no longer be paying use taxes at that time. We will collect the sales tax when you purchase the materials, and that way we're ensuring that duplication is not happening.
And I would note that use tax is also assessed on motor vehicle purchases. That is not being suspended because there is no duplication there.
All right, and this, if approved today, this will begin immediately today, correct? All right. Gentlemen, questions, conversation, discussion?
Just to reemphasize on this, it's not a tax that we're going to be doing without. It's just being collected on the front end, or on the back end actually, at the retailer. So this is eliminating the double taxation that resulted from all of this. So that is what we're taking care of here today.
Yes.
So
right.
taxes are bad enough, but double taxes
Double
is definitely
taxes.
bad.
Or double bad.
Double bad.
We're not going to let that happen.
With that, Madam Chair, I have a motion if you're ready.
Let's do it.
I move to approve resolution number 23, series of 2022, which is a suspension of the use tax collections on construction and building materials purchased at retail.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve resolution number 23, suspending use tax collections on construction and building materials purchased at retail. Further discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner McFall.
Aye.
Commissioner Grantham.
Aye.
Commissioner Bell.
Aye.
Motion carries.
All right, resolution number 24 is next, declining participation in the Family, FAMLI program, and providing notification to the state of Colorado of such declination of participation. And I think we will turn to our county attorney, Brenda Jackson, for an explanation. Good morning, Brenda.
Good morning. The legislature recently passed legislation establishing the family program, which is a paid leave program for businesses in the state of Colorado. It applies to all businesses with more than 10 employees, I believe. And it's funded through a payroll tax that right now is 0.9%, half paid by the employer and half paid by the employee. It could go up to 1.2%, depending on how the program works. In the legislation, local governments, such as the county, have the option to decline participation. And so the Human Resources Director, County Manager, and I have looked at our leave benefits, and we provide the same or greater leave benefits to our employees. So participation in the family program doesn't really serve any purpose for the county as an employer. So this resolution opts out of that program. That option has to be renewed at least every 8 years. We'll probably review it sooner than that and see if there's a benefit to participating in the program. But until that program is actually up and running, it's difficult to determine if there's an advantage for our employees to participate. So they will not have an individual opportunity to opt in, not at this point in time, but perhaps in the future.
All right, thank you so much for that. Yes.
So just a little more on that. Through the county, they don't have the individual option. They can do it on their own, from what I understand, but they have to go through it on their own.
And they would pay the full 0.9%.
0.9%,
Yeah, there wouldn't be a contributing
Right.
portion from the employer.
And I think one other thing to point out was, looking at all this, the state passed this, and then they don't have a clue what they're doing. They're in the process of making the rules for it. So they don't even know how it's going to turn out. Like I said, it started out at 0.9%. It may end up at 9%. We don't even have a clue. So until they get the rules made and figure out what they're doing, how can anybody even implement this? It's typical, I guess.
Sounds like park passes.
Yeah, kind of.
A little bit.
Yeah, it's amazing what happens. At the state level,
We do like to know what's happening before we opt in to anything, so. All right, I am prepared for a motion.
Madam Chair, I'll make that motion.
All right.
I would move resolution number 24, declining participation in the family program and providing for notification to the state of Colorado of such declination of participation.
second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve resolution number 24, declining participation in the family program while providing notification to the state of Colorado for such declination of participation. Further discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner Grantham.
Aye.
Commissioner McFall.
Aye.
Commissioner Bell.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Moving on, we have a request before us that concerns conditional use permit number 7-003 for the Parkdale Quarry. This is a request from Martin Marietta for an increase in the number of daily truck trips beginning July 1st, 2022. And I believe we have representatives from Martin Marietta with us this morning. Would anyone like to rise and speak to this? Otherwise, we can go to our planning and zoning director. If you would introduce yourself, please let us know who you are, what your position is.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Philip Courtney. I'm a land manager for Martin Marietta Materials. And, you know, we're mainly here if you have questions. I mean, we've outlined in a letter to you that I think Mr. Simpleman has provided to you about the nature of this request. It's a pretty unique job that we have. We looked for any opportunities to get it there by rail, but since the infrastructure is being constructed, it needs to get there by truck, and we have the unique materials that they need for this facility from our Parkdale Quarry. So that's the nature of this request. Certainly, it's still our intent, and we will still be shipping, you know, the vast majority of our materials out of this quarry by rail. So we're going to stay above, you know, more than 85% of our material is going to go out by rail as stipulated in our conditional use permit. And so, I mean, we appreciate your consideration of our request to help us service this job that's in Pueblo County. So.
All right, so just for the public's information and for the record, would you just briefly state what the project is?
Sure. It is it's at the Federal Rail Test Facility that they are constructing, and they're gonna test rail cars and rail equipment at this facility, and they require a certain type of ballast, of rock that meets high qualities, and the Parkdale Quarry is actually the only quarry in Colorado that has met these federal requirements. Those requirements are set by the Federal Railroad Administration. And so, hope that answers your question.
Yes, thank you so much. Let me turn quickly to Planning and Zoning Director Micah Simpleman to see if he has a quick staff report. Any concerns with this request?
We have no concerns with this request. It's really minimal increase. I believe that the bridge out there has just been rebuilt and stuff, so we have no concerns about this, and we would recommend approval for this.
All right, thank you, Micah. So the request was received in the appropriate manner, and bringing it forward to this meeting with no public hearing also is the appropriate means of doing this. So to be specific, this request is for an increase in the number of daily truck trips by 40 or 20 trucks for 90 days beginning July 1st of 2022. All right, gentlemen, questions, comments?
Just a quick question out of curiosity. If this is the only quarry in the state that has this, where else would it even come from? What's the second option?
I don't know the answer to that. I don't know if anybody else on our team has that answer, but.
Okay, all right. So not halfway across the world, but close.
And the answer was Cheyenne, Wyoming.
Yeah, but still the problem lies that there's no track there, so however it
They
gets
still
there,
have to truck it in.
they still have to truck it in, yeah.
It's coming by truck to get this facility constructed, you
Right.
know.
Okay. Well, if there's nothing else, Madam Chair, I'll make the motion,
All right, I'm prepared.
unless I'll make it. Madam Chair, I would move that we approve this request by Martin Marietta for the increase in the number of daily truck trips by 40 for 90 days beginning July 1st, 2022, and that's a temporary change to CUP 07-003.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve a change to CUP number 07-003, the Parkdale Quarry, for an increase in the number of daily truck trips by 40, or 20 trucks round trip, for the next 90 days beginning July 1st of 2022. Further discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner Grantham.
Aye.
Commissioner McFall.
Aye.
Commissioner Bell.
Aye.
Motion carries.
All right, thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you very much for your consideration of this.
Yes. All right, the final item on our agenda today under new business is a contract with Greener Pastures Meat and Processing, LLC, for the sale of lots 35, 36, and 37 in the Airport Industrial Park filing number 1. And for an explanation of this, we're going to turn once again to County Manager Sunny Bryant.
Thank you. So a couple weeks ago, we received an offer to purchase the 3 lots out at the airport. They're the industrial lots across the street from across the Highway 67 from the airport. And so the commissioners did accept that offer. So at this time, we do have a proposed contract in place. So I appreciate the work County Attorney Jackson put in preparing this. It was sent to the purchaser, and they have agreed to it. And so it's coming before the board for consideration.
And the total purchase price for these 3 lots is $155,000, correct?
Yes.
All right, gentlemen, comments, concerns, questions?
I have no concerns. I think it's, we should point out that this is a contract to purchase this real estate with contingencies that SRUs that will eventually be applied for, and a zoning change to eventually be applied for, that all of those pass. So that doesn't leave these guys stuck with this property that they can't use. And they have that option, I guess. And this property, I think the county's owned it since 1985. It's just been sitting there. It's not some of it's pretty ravine-y, I guess, if that's a word. Got a lot of ravines in it.
It is
It's
now.
not. It is now, yeah. It's the new dictionary. So,
Okay, Daniel Webster.
do my part, you know. That's all I got, and I'm prepared for a motion unless there's any discussion.
Well, just to add on to that, as far as, the contingencies in the contract, it obviously if they don't get the use permits that they are going to request, then obviously this would nullify the contract. And as Commissioner McFall said, there is a little bit of a nod to what their intent is just in the name of the company, just so that the public knows the company's name is Greener Pastures Meat and Processing. So you can kind of guess what their intent might be for the use of this property. And so
And even with the name of Greener Pastures, the intent is not for marijuana.
it's true.
Let me get that out there.
I should have just started with the meat and processing part of the name. But
right.
just so folks know what may be coming down the pike.
All right, thank you for that. All right,
I think that's what it is. That industry is struggling. If anybody knows, watch the news and pack, or go to the grocery store and buy some meat packing plants. But with that, Madam Chair, I move to approve the contract with Greener Pastures Meat and Processing, LLC, for the sale of lots 35, 36, and 37 at Airport Industrial Park, filing number 1.
Second.
all right, it has been moved and seconded to approve this contract with Greener Pastures Meat and Processing, LLC, for the sale of lots 35, 36, and 37 in Airport Industrial Park, filing number 1. Further discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner McFall.
Aye.
Commissioner Grantham.
Aye.
Commissioner Bell.
Aye.
Motion carries.
All right, thank you. And with no further business coming before this board, we are adjourned.
Vote, vote, vote. I said vote, vote, vote.
Vote, vote, vote. Now we're adjourned.